Thank you for staying with us. News review time. And you wouldn't imagine who is joining me this morning. Samuel Kojo Brace is in the studio, and he'll be helping me dig into the papers. Sam, good morning.
Hi, Ben. Good morning.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you, man.
Even before we get into the papers and what they are saying, what is your take on the back of the SONA 2022?
Well, I'm sure you have followed and know that especially the take on roads have generated a lot of discussion because a lot of people are asking several questions.
Honorable Agboja, and yesterday we heard responses come in and very interesting times because the claim is that the cocoa roads, take over 6,000 kilometers. And that government in itself has only put or brought to bear 4,000 plus kilometers. But they are saying they are lumping everything together, even the spot
spot
improvements.
improvements.
Improvements and all of that.
Yeah.
It makes for interesting dynamics.
Yes.
Because I've heard Engineer Mahama also say that, speak to us industry people and let's analyze this thing, break it down for us. So if the industry people themselves think some clarity is needed, it's a bit sketchy.
Yeah, even all of us are demanding answers. I'm thinking that the government could have been clear with us to say, the new was just, was maybe, because you are trying to justify new with explanation that everything you do on the road amount to construction. Even those of us who are not engineers know that if you are talking about new constructions, it's about you taking an unpaved road and then, covering it.
Right.
So if you come and tell us, spot improvement, all of that amounts to new constructions, that's you're not being sincere. And I was thinking the government could have just come out and say, look, it was just a slip to say they were new 10,000 kilometer roads. They weren't. New ones are probably 4,000 kilometers. We've done, re-asphalting and whatever amounting to this kilometers. But if you come out yesterday to again, or a day after the president has spoken to say, there's 6,000.
To reiterate that. And you were on that beat.
Yes.
You followed the story. Yesterday I was listening to MFR Pow later in the evening, top story and all of that. And the conversation and how probably now we have to look at the definition of new.
Exactly, yes.
The word new has come to
and
the
she
fore.
wanted
What does new really mean?
She wanted the man to tell us, maybe A and B roads amount to new.
Right.
And then C, D roads amount to re-asphalt. I just think they could have been frank with us. And then all of this, because look, if you come out to say, it was just a slip, we won't begrudge you.
Right.
But if you want to try your best to justify something that we know should not be, you find it difficult. And now people will ask you, tell us, Atebu Bukamantin road to probably this junction is a new road. Then we'll go there and say, is this thing a new road?
Because this place had the road had not been treated at all.
Yes.
And now we have something. Or maybe it was a feeder road and now you've asphalted.
Exactly.
That's a different story.
Yes. But now if they ask you and you tell us, if you want me to tell you all the 10,000 kilometers, then that's a voluminous, bring us, we'll read. Bring us that voluminous book. We'll go through it and know if in Atebubu or in Somanya there is a new road somewhere, then we can come out and say, whatever you said is true. But if you just say, it's voluminous and so you won't give us, we'll demand it.
It was interesting because the point was made as well when she said that, so you say you've constructed all these roads. Where are they?
Exactly.
And he said, it's so voluminous that you can't mention any of them.
Yeah. I'm just thinking government could have just gone ahead to say, look, it was just a slip. Let's leave it. We've done so and so new, so and so, asphalting or road patching, whatever, spot improvement. That could have saved them. But, what they are taking us on, it doesn't help anybody, I think.
I don't know why. I feel if I were in politics, and I don't like our brand of politics in Ghana, I am not one for it at all. In the past, people have said different things, but I don't think I'm cut out for this kind of politics that we do in this country. Maybe international politics with the languages I use. But sometimes I think, why do our leaders not seize the opportunity to under-promise and over-deliver? Because it's one of the best ways of getting people to actually follow you, to even build a cult behind you. Under-promise, over-deliver. Our leaders rather over-promise and under-deliver. Time and again, that's what they do.
I remember
I don't get it.
Kojo Yangson's early days at Joy FM. One of his morning messages was about promise less and do more. And that message stuck with me.
Right.
That even if you are to book an appointment with someone and you know you'll get there at, say, 6:30, tell the person I'll be there at 7.
Exactly.
And get there 6:30.
Right.
That's even better. So if I were one of those politicians, I'll say, oh, when I come, I'll buy you a graphic. And I end up buying you 5.
But is it not because they gauge the temperature of the country? They know.
You are right.
They know they can promise and overpromise and everything, and we'll buy into it. We'll buy into it.
Yeah.
And after they've got what they've secured their votes, there's nothing you can do about it.
It's true. I think it's about the system. They know when they sweet talk us, we buy into it. But I'm thinking that we are becoming self-aware. A lot of Ghanaians are becoming critical over the years, and so you get to a point where you can no longer overpromise, but you have to be real with the people. We will get to that point. We will.
Slowly, we're getting there.
Sure.
Let's get into the papers. Daily Graphic now. $9 million Nissan assembly plant commissioned. Over 31,000 vehicles to be produced annually. That's a good thing because, indeed, once we are not... I mean, they bring whatever it is into the country and assembly is done here. It means that the cost of production is going to be lowered and the cost of purchasing these vehicles will also, you know...
So yesterday at the newsroom, I was asking that, can we do a follow-up to find out the affordability, like the middle class?
Right.
Can we afford these ones? If we can, then I think it's possible. But from however angle you look at it from, it's a good thing.
It is
because one, it's creating jobs.
Right.
It is sending out a right signal to the international
community,
space,
the international market.
That look, Ghana is rife for you to invest in because all of these car manufacturing companies are moving in. So we'll get a lot of these people moving in, and it creates jobs. We are talking about youth unemployment. These are ways by which you can be reducing that unemployment rate little by little. So it's a good thing if you look at it from any angle.
Well, I've always said that we could also do more for our homegrown industries, like Kantanka. Yes, I heard recently what was said, but I feel we could have done far more because this is us. If you look at how Volkswagen, what we call Volkswagen, started, people, the common people, Wagen, a vehicle. That's how it started.
Okay.
The commoner's vehicle. And today we all celebrate it. Oh, Volkswagen. But this is how these things start. And here in our country, I don't know what it is. We don't love our own. It's like that passage in the Bible where Jesus says a prophet is never, appreciated or loved in his own home. It's good that we're doing these, but how about growing some right here? Kantanka is now bringing in parts and assembling. What can we do to help? I feel we're waiting too long.
There was some announcement in recent time when the government said we're going to procure some of its vehicles for...
Right. That's exactly what I was alluding to.
And they did it. Right. And I'm thinking that is how you started. Create a market for the man. Let his product be bought.
Right.
So that he knows that when I produce, I have ready market for it. When you do that, then you can progress it. So can we move from assembling to say, maybe just bring in the engine?
Can we even invest? Because this is a local enterprise. Can we even invest in it? Not as individuals, as a state.
Yeah.
With a stake in the entire enterprise to ensure that he develops economies of scale. If he develops economies of scale, it means he can sell his cars at lower prices, which means more and more people can afford to purchase the products, which means that we can also secure our market when it comes to automobile development. Any country that has developed or is considered developed has, whether it's even Italy or whatever, which has had problems with its automobile industry, they have an industry. Kumasi Mazin, what have we done with that? Kokompe, what have we done with it? So we started well in the days of Nkrumah. We started well, but look at us today.
I would agree with government investing, but I would say that if the state does, they should still allow Kantanka's structure to operate.
That's a very valid point.
You know how we behave in this country when the state is a majority shareholder in a certain entity, then everything has to come from the central government. So anytime there's a change, the MD or whatever has to change. The state can invest, but allow the Kantanka structure to work. And you are an investor. When he makes it, you get your share. And it's through that we can develop this institution.
Very valid point. Let me just wrap on the Daily Graphic. Domestic air travel surge record highest patronage in 8 years, and that's since the easing of the COVID-19 restrictions in the country last year. But there's also this one that I want to quickly, Bafana, the South Africans wanted us to lose, most of them at least. And this one, I will gently rub it in. I'll rub it in, but gently.
Okay.
So check like some pain day inside because we've qualified for Qatar. But anti-migrant vigilante group stokes tensions in South Africa. And I had to bring in this one because we know about the xenophobic attacks over the years. And shopkeepers pulled down their metal shutters and foreign staff stayed out of sight as hundreds marched through a Joburg neighborhood demanding that migrants leave and that their jobs go to South Africans. So this, I don't know, but South Africa seems not to be able to contain the situation. It's been going back and forth and only God knows when we'll get there.
Exactly. I wonder why they do that, because they should also know that they don't only live in their country. They have some of their citizens living in other countries as well.
Right.
If you do that in your country and someone else says that, okay, if that is it, then you also leave. How can we build?
Back then, I saw one photo of some other national impaled. Basically, a metal passed through, I think, the buttocks through. It was just
it's
nasty.
Terrible. Yeah,
I think we should get past these.
Exactly.
But let's get into the
the Ghanaian Times. It says danger looms over old foreign ministry building. NADMO demands its immediate demolition, and it comes with a picture of a very, very old structure. And I wonder why Ghana would allow this structure to deteriorate to this level. It speaks of our.
You're in Ghana.
Yes. But,
over the years.
But I wonder why.
The old.
That is why.
The one in Tema, I've forgotten the name. There was one in Tema.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's still standing. I've forgotten. The old is the name that I forget. I mean, we have so many of these structures.
No, but you see, my point is.
Waiting disasters.
Why do we allow our structures to deteriorate to these levels?
It's because the systems don't work. Simply put, if your systems work, buildings after a certain number of years or decades, inspections will show that. Look, I know a building, right, very close to us, somewhere in Jolu. That building, I feel, should not be standing, even when you alert. I mean, it's a hopeless cause.
So question is,
that's the way it is.
When can we, as a country, change the way we do things, and not to say, oh, this is who we are? So would put money into a structure, and watch it deteriorate to a level that sometimes it becomes irredeemable. For example, look at how we are treating the Sipon Stadium.
Oh yeah.
In 2008, when it was built,
totally ridiculous.
I mean, it was in 2008.
You can add the Commander Sugar Factory.
Exactly.
You can add that to it.
Why do we do that
why
to
do
ourselves?
We do these things?
I mean, I don't get it.
Self-inflicted.
When we have individuals who have been placed to manage these facilities,
right?
Why do we find it difficult to manage them and to ensure that they are in existence for generations, such that about 100 years to come, our children will come and say, this is what our fathers bequeathed to us. But we allow them to deteriorate and then we have to pull them down. Right. Waste of resources, I think. And it's about time we change that part of it. But I don't know when.
Part of the problem is because we politicize everything. And sometimes instead of letting the right people with the know-how be there, we put square pegs in round holes, a.k.a. politicians.
That's why I was warning that when we invest in Kantanka, leave it for the man to run. Now, another story says President has sent to e-levy act, new tax expected to take off in May. It comes with the President, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, signing on that particular document. Well, you know the aftermath of this bill. Yesterday we were speaking to the secretary to the mobile money agent, and he was saying that they experienced huge withdrawals on the day this was passed.
People are not depositing. People are not. They rather. People think it has started already, but that is something else that
it hasn't.
Disabuse the minds of people about. It hasn't started yet. Even if it's going to kick in, it's on the 1st of May. But if you've listened to engineer Dr. Kenneth Ashigbe, you know, he has also raised concerns about the window
timeline.
And whether it will even suffice in terms of education and all of that. That is, if you are going to disabuse the minds of people. Some of us, people like me, I know what I'm going to do. I've made up my mind in terms of how I'm going to approach this, because in the end, you must be patriotic, but at the same time, you must be rational. I'm going to put the two together. How everybody approaches this will be different as to them. But I'm going to look at my own circumstances and deal with it appropriately. So yes, support where you can, but where I feel I can, save myself, I'll do that. It's a rational choice. It's a purely economic choice. So you can't begrudge people for doing that. But I think I agree. More education is needed.
Exactly.
If government is going to mop up the money it requires, because in the end, if it's not able to do so, and if it's going to collateralize this and secure bonds and whatever, we'll all end up laughing at the wrong ends of our mouths.
Yeah, and then again, the question about, there are some exemptions. So
definitely.
Those exemptions would have to be trumpeted down there for people to understand that, look, A, B, and C will not attract it. And if I do this, I do that, it doesn't. Because like we know, if I am transferring from my account into my wallet, I'm told it's exempted.
The same to same transfers do, but same to other transfers attract.
And these are things that we need to allow the populace to understand. So that when someone is making his or her mind, he or she makes it on an understanding level. It's not because someone says A, and that's why I want to do something, but it's because I understand the implications of what's happening. Yeah. I think let's wrap it up on that one. But there's an interesting story here on page, I think it's page 5. It says, women, children drawn fleeing Nigeria attack. A little of the lead, it says, more than a dozen people, including women and children, fleeing attacks by armed gangs, have drowned in the central Nigerian state of Niger when their boat capsized. That's a very, very sad one. I don't know when Nigeria would overcome this particular trouble of having armed gangs always terrorizing citizens. Yeah.
The armed insurgency in Nigeria is becoming something else. It's become especially rampant in recent weeks and months. And we pray for them. We pray for our brothers and sisters. Of course, we'll wallop them when it comes to football, but we'll pray for them when it comes to insurgencies.
We have to. Anyway, so that does it for me in the Ghanaian time. Just that because I love our Greek, let me bring this one in. Ghana receives 44.7 million euros grant from EU, France to build irrigation infrastructure in the north. We'll have to keep an eye on this particular story to know how it goes.
Daily Guide newspaper, Nana signs e-levy into law. NPCMPs fight Parliament staff. You remember the situation with the Clerk of Parliament, and the Speaker has come out to say it was oversight. It didn't involve any partisanship. We had quorum, says Bagbin, and Tetenete punches Ato Essien. President opens Nissan assembly plant. But the bit about Bagbin, have you noticed a bit of, I don't know, especially from the day of the e-levy till now, he's been a bit. I don't know how the minority was covered. No, the stance has shifted a little.
I don't know what you want to say.
Or is it?
Maybe he can no longer tolerate how things
his side,
are.
That I feel his side too. I feel he may be frustrated with his side and some of the actions they've taken, because it appears in some instances maybe he may not exactly be in the know of the flow of events, and then when he's taken by surprise, you remember some of the comments he passed in recent times. He's been surprised by both sides, so I guess he feels okay. Let me also surprise you guys. Let's play that game.
But you see, the things were becoming quite tough. So I'm sure he sat down. Look, how do we have to allow this to keep making things difficult for our citizens? Let's keep rolling. And that's it. I'm not saying that's what it is, but I'm just saying that maybe he just sat down to say that, look, let's keep things running. And that's why it happened. So, are you done with yours?
Almost. So Putin threatens gas supplies over ruble payments, and he's been saying that pay me in rubles. Interestingly, the G8, Germany together with the G7, are saying they are not going to comply. I'll be looking forward to seeing how that pans out. But I feel, yes, Putin may be playing his chess game. I feel the rest of them should also do same. In the end, Russian gas and the rest has dominated the scene. I feel if they want to wean themselves off of Russia, not completely, but as much as possible, as the EU has said that they want to shed about 2/3 moving forward, so they are not so dependent on Russia. I feel it's a good move, because I feel, in a way, Russia is also becoming overweening, and its wings must be clipped in some respect.
See, its wings have to be clipped there. Let's see how this goes, because, Putin is an intelligent guy. He was the director of their intelligence service.
I know, KGB.
Before. So this guy, I'm sure, knows exactly what he's doing. So let's see how this goes. But moving to the final news, if anybody who wants details about this statement from the road ministry, can go to the Finder, page 4. They've broken down everything there about the unpaved and paved and what have you. All of them are there. But there's one interesting story here on the front page. It says the best venture to invest in now is agribusiness. CEO of Beauty Solution Oasis.
I agree. Agribusiness. I've always wanted to go, for example, into cashew production because I have a history with that. Cashew production. Yeah. Cashew is worth much more than cocoa. I don't know why we're not really focusing. What cashew will fetch you? 50 kilos or a ton of it. Cocoa will not fetch even, but here we are. We seem to be so limited in our thinking, but some of these are cost intensive, and that is the problem. But the bit also has to do with, for example, currently, you heard me interact with John Dumelo and others the other day about the cost of fertilizers, which partly on the back of what is happening in Russia and Ukraine. What are we doing with our own petroleum resources? Because these fertilizers, phosphate and the rest, they are derivatives. What are we doing in that regard? And even making farming, that enticing, attractive to young people. Now, everything has gone up. The cost of fertilizer, the cost of labor, the cost of tractors, the cost of this and that, everything has gone up. So when these things happen, even if you want to farm 1 acre,
in 2020, government brought up a plan to establish the Petroleum Hub project. I'm sure you are familiar with it, which is in Jomoro municipality. That plan, or that particular hub, was to have a fertilizer plant which would produce fertilizer for our farmers. So let's see how that particular one goes. But it's interesting how this would help us.
And recently there was talk of same as well. So we'll see how it goes.
But I'm sure the Tree Crop Development Authority would also attend to that to ensure that we're diversifying into a lot more cashew and what have you. So let's see how they also come up.
Now is the time to develop indigenous gas resources. Talu CEO feeding into what we are talking about. That's my final newspaper. And maybe you can just take us through the headlines of Republic Press and the Custodian.
Okay, all right then. Now, it says e-levy is law. Akufo-Addo appends signature. Bagbin blames Supreme Court for purported confusion over quorum as NDC accuses him of betrayal.
Right.
Okay, so let's end with that. Custodian says Akufo-Addo praises Dan Parry, says police gaining trust and confidence under new IGP.
Okay. Samuel Kojo Brace.
So,
thank you.
Thank you too.
I enjoyed this, man.
I enjoyed it too.
All right, it's a wrap for the news review, but coming up next, we bring your way sports right here on the AM show. Do stay.